It's time to grade the rest and the reserves. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Raptors. I'm your host, Sham, my channel where you get reviews, analysis, predictions, and hot takes on all things Raptors as well as some NBA. So this is the first video that starts the series of reviewing the players, and today I wanted to review a few players altogether because they're not worth doing individual videos on just yet because they are considered the reserves. So without a further ado, let's talk the Raptors reserves and the other guys. Today I'll be talking about Justin Champagnie, Malachi Flynn, Suimahailuk, Yuta Watanabe, Tad Young, and Delano Benton, and Armani Cooper. Now, is it Armani Cooper or Armani? Oh, Brooks. So let me start off with Justin Champagnie. Justin Champagnie was pretty good. In my opinion, he showed flashes of very good progress. Every time he came into the game, he was rebounding the ball. He was defending against power forwards that are in the NBA, which is not easy to do in your rookie year. He was defensively sound, and he was starting to hit his corner threes very consistently. He even had a game-beating buzzer beater, that kind of wasn't really a buzzer beater, but he showed flashes of a guy who fight, and he brought the energy in. And after the fight with Charlotte Hornets player, I think his name is Hamilton, he just went to the doghouse and his progress was just stopped. And I think that kind of falls on Nick Nurse, because as a coach, you can't just do that to a young guy. And Justin Champagnie really would have helped you out when Pascal was, playing 42 minutes a game. Scotty was playing 42 minutes a game, getting worn out. So was Ogino Anunoby, and all of these guys. But he chose to put him in the doghouse and just completely stopped his progress. So if I was to look at Justin Champagnie overall, I saw a lot of positives. I didn't see many negatives for him. Now, the next guy is Delano Benton. Honestly, Delano Benton was defensively sound. He was what you would expect from a rookie, making stupid mistakes. But defensively, he did a pretty good job, especially given his height. He was able to hang in there with more smaller guards and guard them and make it difficult for them. But I saw a complete lack of an offensive game. Even though he did well in the G League, he was not up to the mark in the NBA, especially given the defenses are able to pick you out, right, and stop you. And he didn't really have a three-point shot, even though he, made a few. His getting to the bucket got difficult because the NBA defenses collapse pretty quickly, and they're able to hang in there with you even better. So he was getting to the bucket was okay. He did show flashes, so I'm not gonna nail him too much on it. He was a rookie. He had great flashes, and then he had bad games. Now the third guy is Malachi Flynn. Coming into this season, I expected Malachi Flynn to take a big step forward. Now, does that have to do with Nick Nurse not giving him enough minutes? Yes, that he did not take that step. But if I was to look at it, Nick Nurse did give him opportunities, and it didn't seem like Malachi has improved his game as much. Now, everybody loves Malachi. I get it. I'm in favor of him being traded, especially to help him grow his game somewhere else, because Nick Nurse is not going to give him those opportunities. In my opinion, Nick Nurse has given him enough opportunities in his mind, and he's not going to give him any more unless, Malachi takes the next step. You expected Malachi to be a better three-point shooter, better at, penetrating the paint, better defensively, better general. Now, he was a better general. He was able to run the floor very, very well when Freddie was out, right? He was a better defender. I think he did a pretty good job hanging in there with all of the guards, especially, the NBA guards are too good. So he did a pretty good job as a second-year player. Where he did not improve, and we really, really needed him to improve, especially at a guard spot, is his shooting and his penetration to the rim. He did not improve those things. And Malachi just seems like he's afraid to get into that rim unless he has that in, coming downhill in a transition. When we hit half court, it just seems like he does not have that dribble or, quickness to be able to get to the rim at will. And we needed him to take the next step to at least get to the point where he would, be able to get to the bucket every now and then and not be afraid of it. And three-point shooting, he did not shoot it that well this season. He nailed a few three-pointers, but it wasn't as consistent as we need him to be. And especially as a backup point guard, you need to be able to make sure that, you're producing, because guard spots are the main scorers for most of the teams. And if you're not doing that, then that's allowing the other team to get off of you and concentrate on bench players on their defense, which just makes bench production go to complete zero and crap. So that's something that, I think Malachi, honestly, he wasn't that good this season. And I think it's better for that kid to be traded somewhere else and for us to get a veteran player and move on and let him grow his game elsewhere, because it just seems like Nick Nurse doesn't want him there, and it seems like he doesn't really want to improve his game, given that he doesn't have the coach's confidence. Now, the next player is Yuta Watanabe. Now, I love Yuta Watanabe's energy. He comes in, he pushes hard, he does everything he possibly can. But do I think he's one of those guys that's going to be a difference maker for us going forward? Hell no, because he has that three-point shot, but it comes and goes. He was injured most of this season, so you didn't really have him. And do I think he might be injured later on next year if you keep him? Yes, because he comes in, plays hard, and does everything. And it just seems like, Utah doesn't have a mid-range game. It's either getting to the bucket or a three-point shot. And honestly, the Raptors need more than that, especially from their bench players. Unless he becomes a three-point sniper, he doesn't really give you that much other than energy. So I would rather have a player that would give you rebounding, possible three-point shooting, and a little bit of the energy. If it's lesser than Yuta Watanabe, at least you're getting the three-point shot and rebounding, right? So honestly, not the greatest season for Yuta Watanabe, given he had an injury. You never know. He might take the next step. He seems like a guy that works hard, so I'm not all for trading his ass. So the next guy is Suimahailuk. Now, this guy was incredible. Well, not incredible. Pretty good in Detroit. Pretty good in Oklahoma. He whooped our ass several times. And it just seemed like when he came to the Raptors, he just doesn't have that three-point shot anymore, man. He has athleticism. He showed flashes of great athleticism. But he was given so much opportunity by Nick Nurse to get his game going. And we needed him for a three-point shot. That's why he was brought into this team as a 3-and-D guy. But he had no three. And it carried throughout the whole season. He couldn't even nail three-pointers against garbage, rookies that came in garbage time. It was awful. And it seemed like he gave up his shot every time he even had an open three-point shot. I don't know why. He should have taken those shots. And I think that's what pissed Nick Nurse off, is that he's passing off shots that he should be taking in garbage time to practice to get better for the next game when he actually gets more meaningful minutes. If he does nail those three-point shots. Would I have preferred to keep Sam Dekker instead of this guy? Yes, because Sam Dekker is a sniper. He's still a sniper internationally. So it wasn't that great to see Suimahailuk. And he was, by the end of the season, he was on the bench. He was reserved. He was like the 14th, 15th man. So not great season for him either. Now, Thad Young and Armani Brooks are kind of iffy. I think Thad Young brought a very, very positive image to the Raptors. He brought veteran presence. He taught the young guys how to be good, especially Chris Boucher, Scotty Barnes, accept your roles, all those things. So he brought that stuff. He brought defensive versatility. He was a pretty good defender, but his shots and his free throws were god awful. He nailed a few corner threes, but they are awful, man. And him getting to the bucket, he was pretty good at that too. But he is what he is at this time. He's been in the league for 14. But is he worth the $14 million that he was being paid? No. If the Raptors have to go that high to sign him, do not do it. And Armani Brooks, we saw him being very good defensively, a taller guard, being able to help out when Freddie's not there. But he didn't shoot the three shoot. He was a 3-and-D guy as well, and he didn't shoot the three well either. He had a lot of open shots a lot of times, and he did not nail them well. And that kind of just makes you think, hey, is he still worth keeping? I honestly think yes. You don't just, go off of a player for half a season, right? And he's not going to be that expensive to keep around, especially given the defense he showed and the grit that he showed. So that's what I think about all of these players. Overall, if I was to talk about this whole unit, I would say they were a D-. I would have went with F. Because they were horrible, and our starters had to play a lot of minutes because of them. And Nick Nurse gave them enough opportunities. Honestly, he did. But D minus because of Justin Champagnie doing very well. That's the only guy I don't blame for, not really taking the next step when he got the minutes, because Nick Nurse didn't give him the minutes, and Delano Benton being a rookie. The rest of the guys, they came in because they were supposed to be 3 and D guys, and they did not do a good job at it. And Malachi Flynn didn't really do a good job either growing his game, because he wasn't able to nail 3-pointers as well or get to the paint, which is important part of a point guard's game. So D minus is what these guys deserve. Honestly, they got saved by Justin Champagnie, a little bit of the Thad Young's, off the field type of things that he did for us, and Delano Benton being a rookie, right? So that's what I have for you guys for this video. Honestly, I think the Raptors need to shake up, like I said in my previous video, shake this damn reserve unit off. I think there needs to be a veteran brought in. Do I think Suimahailuk should be traded right away? Depends on what he does in training camp, or in practices and stuff like that. And the rest of the guys, honestly, we can live without them, man. Guys like Malachi Flynn deserve better to go somewhere else and grow their career. Yuta Watanabe, we have enough for those energy guys. I think Justin Champagnie can very, very easily replace Yuta Watanabe for those minutes. Armani Brooks, we got to give him a little bit more try. Thad Young is not worth the money. So I think this reserves will be shaken up, and they deserve the grade that they are getting before me, in my opinion. So that's all I have for you guys for this video. Come back next week for the videos where I start reviewing the important players for the Raptors that played the main roles this year and got us to the point where we got them. So I hope you guys liked the video. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Help the channel grow, and I will see you guys after my next video.